Hey guys, it's Nat from B2P Pilates and Athletics, and I want to take you through a little stretching mobility Pilates mix. Okay, so you just need your mat. There is going to be some stuff on your knees though, so you can either just roll up your mat when it gets to that spot, or you can just grab a pillow, which I'm going to use, okay? The first part is on all fours, so if you want to use that pillow underneath your knees now, go for it, okay? But you're going to start with your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. All right, and we're just gonna go into like almost a circular motion. So your toes are untucked, your core is pulled in. You're gonna inhale, sweep your hips around to the right. They're gonna pass over your feet around to the left, come to your starting all fours position, then reverse or alternate. So inhaling for the first half, exhaling one more each side. Just mobilizing through those hips, stretching out through the side of the hips and the back. Last one here, keeping that core pulled in, not letting your low back dump down. All right, and then you're gonna go into your cat camel. So you're gonna inhale as you round the spine, particularly focusing in on that low core. And then exhale, keep that low core zipped in, keep your ribs pulling in towards your spine as you come into your back bend, so just don't drop and dump. Inhale, roll through your low back, your mid back, your upper. Exhale, unfurl low tail, mid back, head. One more time. As you round, really focus on rounding through that low back, opening the low back up. As you exhale, the opposite. So really think pulling low core in so that you don't dip into your back or don't default into your back. From here, you can sit back into a child's pose. Knees can go wide. Hands can either go out in front of you, underneath your head, or around by your tail. Then from here, you're going to engage the core, slowly roll back up. We're going to come back to all fours in a second, but first we're going to do your knee sways. So come to laying down on your back. Knees bent, in line with your hips, feet are on the ground. They're also in line with your hips. Laying down. Arms pressed down into the mat, the chest is open. Cross your right leg over your left so your thighs are touching. Left foot stays on the ground. Inhale, sway to the left. Twist through the core, keep your ribs pulled in. Exhale, use your exhale to flex your spine, engage your core to pull you back to center. Then the other side, inhale. So think this is a core engagement exercise just as much as it is a stretch. That's where you get the most bang for your buck. One more each side. Inhale to sway. Exhale, pulling the core in. Watch you're not feeling any pinching through the front of your hip. One more to the right. Actively engage that core to control the legs back to center. Your shoulders and collarbones stay open. Uncross, left leg over the right. Let's go towards the right first. Inhaling to sway. Your left hip rolls off the mat. Your chest is still open. Use your exhale to pull your core in and massage or pull your back to the mat. Inhale towards the left. Only go as far as it feels good for you. Exhaling, you shouldn't feel any pinching through that spine. If so, you're going too far or letting go of that core. One more per side. Feel a little stretch through the back, through the hip. Exhale, coming back to center. Last one, over to the left. Exhale, back to center. From here, you can hug your legs into your chest if it feels good. Little rock side to side, actively pull in the core. Then keep this right leg hugged in, the left leg goes straight. Giving you a little hug here, stretching through the back of the hip. Don't hug in so much that you feel like you're pinching through the front of the hip. Just a baby side hip stretch here. You're going to almost kind of pick your right hip up off the ground, point your knee towards your left shoulder and give it a little hug. So you're just trying to get a little stretch through the outside of that glute, a little bit through the outside of the hip and the IT band. If you pull in too much and not engage your core, all you'll feel is the front of your hip getting pinched, so just watch for that. Come back to center. Core is in, hug the left leg in, right leg goes straight, give it a little bit of a hug, scooping the core in, so you're more thinking like tucking the tail towards you versus just pulling the leg in and pinching your hip. Core is in as you use your core to pick up your hip slightly, so you pull the little core in and you just think of like curling your tail so that your knee can come towards your right shoulder. Notice where you feel the stretch. Take a nice big breath in. Big breath out. Then come back to center. Place the left foot down on the mat, then the right. Both arms go up towards the sky. I want you to wiggle your feet away from you. Okay, still making sure you can keep both feet down on the ground. I'm going to go to like the edge of my mat. So you're going to roll all the way to seated in like a sit-up, one piece of your spine at a time, and both feet stay down. Try that. Inhale, pick up the head, peeling your spine off. Your feet stay pressing down to the ground. And then coming back. So ground down through your feet, melting down, engaging the core, and articulating down one piece of your spine at a time. And then let's try that again. Inhale. If you couldn't keep your feet down, can you drive down into them more this time or wiggle them forward? The closer your feet are to you, the harder it is because it's a shorter angle. And then coming back, melting one piece of your spine at a time. We're going to do that 2 more times to articulate through the back. If you feel your feet still coming off the ground, it's because your hip flexors and your quads want to pull you up more than your core does. So again, just wiggle your feet forward or focus more on pulling or hollowing those abdominals in. One more time. This one's the real deal. You're going to come all the way up to seated, taking your time. Good. You can bend the feet in or bend the knees in. Hug your legs in. You're going to think long through the top of your head. Tuck your chin and just give yourself a little spine stretch there. Really tucking your chin in. So we're stretching out through the side of the spine. Good. And then restacking. From here, we're going to go into a little foot stretch. So you're going to bring your feet behind you. So you're going to curl, you're coming into all fours first. You're going to curl your toes onto the ground. Slowly walk your hands back. And you go back as far as your feet can handle it. So if you can go all the way back, weight on top of those feet, then do it. You're going to breathe here. If that's feeling okay and you can keep your chest nice and lifted, bring your hands behind you. You can interlace your fingers. Draw the shoulder blades together, open up the chest. Coming forward, you're going to tap the feet out. Do that one more time. Curling your toes onto the ground, engaging the core, walking your hands back. Hold that back as much as you can. Again, if you need that pillow underneath your knees, by all means take it. I want you to be comfortable. Okay. And then you're coming up, going through a quick hip stretch. So bring your right foot forward. We're starting in a lunge, but think you're more upright, almost like you're more of a taking a knee. Your right ankle still has to be in front of your right knee though. So your hands can be wherever you like, but I want you to think, pull your spine up nice and tall, engage the core, slightly engage this left glute, and think about sliding your hips forward as if they're on a conveyor belt until you feel that stretch coming through your quad and your hip flexor. If you do it right, you probably don't have to go that far. But you're thinking more forward versus just dumping down. If you just dump down, you're going to create more pressure through your hip joint. So holding here, kind of driving that left knee down. And then you're going to take your left arm, you're going to think nice and tall, side bend to your right. Still think pulling up through your ribs as you go over, so it's more about the up. And then back to center. Shift your hips back, straighten out your right leg, wiggling it forward. Your spine's going to stay long. Your hands can go on your hips or your thigh. Just don't push down on your knee. Keeping that back flat, I want you to lean forward until you like the stretch that you're feeling through your hamstring. Keep your spine as long as you can. Your head is in line with your spine. Take a nice big breath. Maybe every time you exhale, you could go a little bit lower. And then from here, you're going to shift into that lunge again. Maybe you can go a little bit further, but remember when you set up, core in, left glute slightly on, slide forward like you're on a conveyor belt. And then if you can maintain that, you're just trying to keep your hips level and in position and even. So that if you can still keep that, then you can go a little bit further. Again, if you ever feel like you need that pillow underneath your knee, absolutely take it. And then you're going to go hands to the ground. You're going to heel toe that right foot over to the left edge of the mat until you can come into a pigeon stretch here. So left leg will go back. From here, you can keep your spine nice and long. If that feels good, you can even bring it down to your forearms, or maybe your head is coming down. If this feels like it's too much, you can take that pillow and put it underneath that right hip. So you can use that as a little bit of a cushion or a bolster underneath your right hip or your right knee. If you're dealing with knee stuff though, or knee injury, and you know it can't bend that much and that's too tight of a stretch, then just skip this one, all right? Or you can go to your figure 4 stretch, aka throw the needle when you're laying on your back. From here, Hands go onto the ground. Curl your left toe onto the ground. Lift your hips up. Slide your right leg back. So you're in a plank for a moment, and then you're going to push back into a down dog. So your hips go to the sky. Your heels reach for the ground. And then you can lower the knees down. I'm going to get rid of my pillow. We're going to do the other side. So your left foot goes forward like you're in that lunge. All right, so just watch you're not starting here. So, okay, shoulders roll back. Core is in. You think of your hips or your pelvis like a bowl. You don't want that bowl to tip forward or back. So you keep it even. Engage your right glute. Engage the front of your right core. And then just think slide forward like you're on that conveyor belt versus like that escalator. And you're breathing. The more you think of pulling tall or pulling the core in, the more you'll feel that stretch going through that right quad, through your hip. And then you're going to bring in the right arm up towards the sky. Think tall. So not from your shoulder, but from your rib cage and your spine. You're pulling your ribs up to the sky. Then you can side bend over. Try not to check your right hip out to the side. Come back to center. Then you're going to shift your hips back. You're going to straighten out this left leg. Remember, at any point you can put that pillow underneath your right knee. From here, hands on your waist or on your leg. Spine is long. I would rather you be here with a nice long spine versus here slumping over. It's actually going to put more pressure into your back if you do that. And if you really think of pulling this left hip backwards to even off your hips, you'll get a true enough stretch to that hamstring. Then we're going to come forward into that lunge again, holding one more time. If you can go a little bit lower, then go for it. But remember, you're thinking core in. You're not just dumping forward. You're thinking tall and forward. Getting a nice stretch there. Hands can be wherever you like for this one. Again, as long as you can keep your spine tall, shoulders open. And then we're going into that pigeon. So if you want, you can grab that pillow underneath your hip or your knee. Otherwise, you're going to heel toe that foot over to the right side of your mat. Bring that left leg down, slide the right foot forward or backwards. From here, going to wherever feels good for you. I want you to listen to that body though. There should be no pain. There should be no pins and needles. Wherever you are, try and keep your hips as even as possible. Taking those big breaths in. The more you can breathe, the more deeply you can breathe, the more you're negating that fight or flight system. So we're like calming the central nervous system. It tells the body, okay, this is good. We like this. This is safe. From here, coming out the same way we did before, hands underneath your shoulders, curl your right toes onto the ground, slide the left foot back so you're in plank, stretch back so you're into that down dog, reaching your heels down for the ground. And then we're going to bring the knees down, restack the spine, rolling the shoulders back. Okay, one more quick stretch here for the hips. You're going to go bottoms of feet together, but not pulling them in super close. You're going to keep them a little bit away so it's more of a diamond position. Your hands are going to go underneath your ankles because we're going to use them for length. So you're going to roll the shoulders back, pull your spine up tall, and I'm physically pulling up away from my legs with my hands. Then keeping that back flat, you're going to bend your elbows, pulling your shoulders away from your ears, and then you can lean forward with a flat back, okay? I'll do it from the side so you can see, but you're just holding and you're breathing, okay? But you're actively pulling your spine long. You're actively pulling your elbows into your thighs. But we're not up here. It's pulling down. Take one more big breath in. Big breath out. Restack. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Hope that body is feeling nice and refreshed, and I'll see you in the next video.